Welcome to the Aging Boomers. I'm your host, Frank Sampson, and on the Aging Boomers, this is a show where we discuss so many of the issues facing boomers, their parents, and an aging population today. And just want to thank everybody for all their support. We're getting quite a few listeners and downloads on iTunes. We're also getting it right on our website at theagingboomers.com. And of course, you could, if you don't know, you could download an app called The Aging Boomers right on your iPhone or Android phone. So thanks again for all your support. And of course, we've got another great guest today. Her name is Mary Radu. She is a certified life coach and founder of Pathmaker Coaching here in Sebastopol, California. And for the past 12 years, Mary has helped mid-career and retired professionals and couples in their 40s to 70s who want to find a clear direction for work and lifestyle that suit their needs at this stage of their life with their current values, skills, and passions. She helps them get comfortable with the process of making changes and finding practical solutions for creating and fulfilling a meaningful life. Mary served as National Vice President of the Life Planning Network, which recently published the book Live Smart After 50, The Expert's Guide to Life Planning for Uncertain Times. Mary served on the editorial team and contributed to 2 chapters on the book. And Mary, thanks so much for joining us on the Aging Boomers.
Thanks, Frank. It's great to be here today.
Yeah, so tell us more about the Life Planning Network. I know this book was put together by, including yourself, 33 experts, which it's a lot of great information, a lot of professionals. But tell us more about the organization itself.
I'd be happy to. The Life Planning Network's been in operation as a nonprofit professional organization for over 12 years. It's a national community of professionals dedicated to helping people navigate the second half of life. We represent planning disciplines ranging from career counselors, financial advisors, estate lawyers, to life coaches like myself, health professionals, and authors and researchers who write about the issues of boomers and aging. We have a Northern California chapter here in the Bay Area, of which I'm the founder and general chair, and we have chapters in other metropolitan areas around the country, as well as individual members nationwide, and a few internationally. What brings us together is a strong belief that people benefit when they carefully and intentionally plan for this encore stage of life. Regardless of our area of expertise, each of us professionals work with our clients in a holistic way, building on our clients' values, strengths, as well as the realistic constraints that each client lives with to open up the choices and increase their confidence about today and their futures.
I think it's great. And what's the website of Life Planning Network? What
the website is www.lifeplanningnetwork.org. Lifeplanningnetwork.org.
So whether somebody's looking for advice or maybe somebody wanting to get involved in the organization, they should go to that site?
Absolutely. There's a lot of information about life planning on that website. There's a link to the website that has more detail about the Live Smart After 50 book. And there's a Find a Consultant page where if there's an individual who's looking for some support in a particular area of expertise, whether it be legal issues or housing issues, or wellness, they can put in a specialty or a state, and they'll get a selection of our members who are available to serve them. And the information on the website is also helpful to practitioners who want to get connected up with their tribe. I consider this group my tribe of people who really understand and have a passion for supporting people in the second half of life.
I think it's great what you're doing. You know, thanks for sending me the book. I did start reading it. I haven't finished it yet, but it's great. You guys did a great job. It took a lot of coordination putting together 33 people to write on various areas that maybe are not overlapping. And again, the book is called Live Smart After 50. So just, tell me a little bit about the book and how you coordinate all of this with so many people.
Well, it was, it was a very energetic and exciting process to be a part of this. I've never done anything like this before. And it was a little bit of herding cats and a lot of fun. We had the collaboration of 33 experts who gave their time pro bono to write this book. And they represented some of the disciplines that I've just mentioned: life coaches, psychologists, financial planners, health and fitness professional, artists, estate lawyers. And these members donated over 3,000 hours of their time to address the 8 areas of life that we address in the book and hone the discussion down on these important issues, and as well as some key resources down to their essence to help readers flourish in the second half of life. And let me tell you a little bit about what I'm talking about in terms of what we're addressing. We're really addressing what's essentially a new stage of life and the problems that we're experiencing in our generation. This didn't exist in earlier generations. When you think about what your grandparents and your parents lived through, and it's the increasing longevity that we are facing is an important reason why this is a new stage of life. Not only has the age of our average lifespans nearly doubled in the last century to almost 78 years now, the number of years beyond traditional retirement has quintupled in the last 2 generations. So instead of living just a few years past retirement age, sitting on the porch, enjoying the grandkids, now we're living even 15 years more. And now 15 years can even be more like 30 years or more. I'm 62, and I expect I'm going to live into my 90s with my health. And people in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, we're all feeling vital. Many of us are feeling vital, and we want to be actively engaged in work in our communities. And we have good reason to expect that we're going to live for another 30 or 40 years. Some of us may live to 100 or more. There are people that are already living that long. So we're talking about a stage of life that has the same length of time that we experience from our early 20s to our 50s. And that's quite a period of time that many of us haven't really thought about in a thoughtful way. So this new stage of life can be viewed as a fluid state with a lot of changes that we can expect to happen. And people will choose to live in ways less predicted by their chronological age than the state of their health, what their financial security and well-being looks like, what they're interested in is in work and volunteer engagement, doing productive things in our lives, doing purposeful, meaningful things, whether it's work paid or unpaid, whether it's volunteer work, and whether it's engaged in creative and leisurely activities. I know a lot of people, when they say they're going to retire, they're going to go golf, but that only goes so far. There's a lot more to it than that. I expect that your listeners have some concerns about their futures and that there's a lot of unknowns and uncertainties and what we'll do about it. And we don't have to do it alone. That's what life planning is about. In our work lives, we had tools that we used to do our jobs, and we had people resources. And when we look at our lives and where we want to go, we have tools and we have people resources. And the book, Live Smart After 50, offers the readers a tool or a guide to create their own roadmap for this new stage of life. I love the roadmap metaphor because it's like taking a journey. And it's not, the book isn't a how-to book, and it's not meant to be comprehensive. There's no way that one book could be that. But rather, it was our goal to give the readers a solid understanding of how to navigate the transitions of the second half of life and how to plan a meaningful, purposeful, and as fulfilling a journey as possible, given each of our own unique circumstances. None of our lives are the same. And so it's more important that we as professionals provide an understanding of the issues, free and low-cost resources, and some tools and support so that each reader can create their own roadmap.
I think it's great. I got a perfect name for your next book.
What's that?
Live Smart After 70.
Well, this book actually addresses 70 and up as well.
Right.
So
right.
This isn't just about 50-year-olds. This is about the transitions that we can expect from midlife on. And people who are under 50 can benefit from this, because when we think forward in our lives, when we get a vision of how we want to live, whether we want to live vitally and engaged, we can start thinking about what the decisions we make today, how they're going to impact our futures. So whether you're 50, 40, 60, or 80, this book has something for everyone.
Yeah, it was kind of teasing a little bit, but, you meet somebody now who's 100 or 100 plus, and you stop in your tracks and you want to talk to them, and, you ask, how have you done it, and all that. And, in the not too distant future, you meet somebody 100, you go, oh, great. It's going to be much more common.
Right, and that means that we have role models, and that's really important. Our families, most of our family members are gone, so they can't provide us the model for how to live into our older age. And genetics is only about 30% of a predictor in terms of how long we're going to age. I'm sure you're aware of this from your own work, Frank, that how we live, our environment, our state of mind, how we engage in our lives is even a bigger predictor of how long we're going to live. How we deal with our relationships and the kind of meaningful engagement that we have a lot to do with whether our health is going to be good. Health is not just our physical body, it's our mental state.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The book, going back to the book itself, you have a lot of great information in there. So this isn't a how-to book necessarily, but it gives a lot of good information. I know you have things in there as it relates to exercises, checklists, and talk about that and maybe other tools that you have within the book that people could expect.
I'd love to. First of all, the most important step in creating your own roadmap in dealing with the uncertainties of life, and that we have to expect, that life is going to be uncertain, is to assess where you are today and what you want, what your goals are in your life in an honest way. Really looking, truly assessing what your desires and your needs are and what the realities of your life are in a way that most of us don't really relish doing. We think about it a lot, and what happens when I love using the airplane metaphor. When an airplane is circling the airport, when it just goes round and round, when those thoughts go round and round, you know what happens to an airplane? Eventually it's going to run out of gas.
Right.
So with our thoughts, if we keep it in our head, we're not going anywhere. We're just keeping it in the same place, and in fact, it can create more worries for us. So when we start doing some introspection and when we start writing things down and using checklists, that's the first step that gives us a sense of progress. So we've got exercises and checklists that help our readers decide what's most urgent to address. With so many different issues in our lives, we can get overwhelmed, and it can be helpful to identify what the priorities are. So it helps us do that. It helps us interpret some of the checklists and tools help us interpret the key events of our life to predict how they will respond and act in the future. There are questions and surveys to help the readers understand their strengths and what they value, really important things that some people aren't in touch with in a very clear way. Some of these tools help figure out where they want to live and who are the people they want around them moving forward. There are checklists for the legal documents that if you complete, you can feel that you have them taken care of for yourself, and you'll know that your loved ones will have that much taken care of so that when they're going through crises in your life, when and if those occur, they can focus on being with you emotionally and not have to worry with some of the practical pieces that you've taken care of. There are exercises to help you move your life forward and get the kind of encore work or volunteer work that would satisfy you and help you create a legacy, as well as help take care of the financial needs that you have. There's a couple of short exercises in the book's preface that you might have had a chance to take a look at, Frank, that our readers find really helpful in getting started. These are the life planning quiz and the checklist for life planning. They're also available free on the book's website for download as a PDF at livesmartafter50.com. That's livesmartafter50.com. In these exercises, we identify 8 aspects of life, which generally are the greatest concern for most of us, so that we can set priorities and keep track of our progress. The areas that we address in the book on these checklists and also in the chapters of the book are work, both paid and unpaid, love and relationship, health, home, legacy, leisure, legal issues, and money. So if the topic that were of concern to you were home and where you're going to live, it points you to the chapter that covers the issues of place and belonging and safety. Where will you live? Who will you live with? Is your current home going to be right for you in 5 years, in 15, in 25? What are those options that you want to consider? What are the options that are available to you in your community and with the finances that you have and the finances that might be available through public programs? Under money, you might ask yourself, what do you have to earn, save, and spend to live the best possible life with the resources you can anticipate? So the life planning process has predictable steps, and they include, as I said, assessing where you are now, really important to do, discovering what your real possibilities and opportunities are, so looking at what the realities are, and then clarifying what you want to do and achieve, and making a plan that includes some really small steps of so that you can start making progress and you can see some results. So, and then it also means looking at what you need to do and who can help you. Because as I said before, there's tools and there's people resources. And even though we all want our own independence, what's true about life is that we're all interdependent. And when we realize that, we can live successfully. So part of the planning process is as we go along and we take some steps, we adjust our plan. And we need to do that on an ongoing basis so that we can align our actions with the realities in our lives, the things that change, the new goals that we set, and our values as our lives change.
You know, I think it's what I really love about the book is that you have experts in various areas, and not, you know, when one person writes a book on something like this, certainly they do their research, and but when you have individuals, attorneys, and, you know, various other professionals talking about the area that they know well, that makes for a good book. It really does.
Absolutely, and each chapter was actually written by more than one person. Each chapter was a collaboration by a number of professionals, and that makes it even stronger because it's not just one person's point of view. It's a professional point of view that is very powerful.
Yeah, there's so many questions I have for you, and with the time we have, I do want to talk about working versus retirement, and I guess I even look at myself. I'm not the type to, like you say, retire and go play golf, and I like golf, but after playing 3-4 days in a row, I get a little tired of it. So, the thing is, I think so many people, because we're in the same age group, and I talk to friends of mine, and everybody kind of feels the same way. They want to still be involved in some way. Maybe those don't want to work as hard, but they want to work when they want to. But I think we're going to be seeing more of that. And give me your thoughts there.
Absolutely, you're right on there with your comments about work and purposeful engagement. One of our authors, Jan Hively, is someone who I have so much respect for. She's been working in the field of work and older workforce work and engagement for a number of years, and she's a very wise woman. She's come up with a new definition of work, which I think is a very practical way of looking at work, and it's really the kind of work, it fits for who we are and how we've been living our lives since we've been involved in working earlier in our lifetime, and it also gives us a perspective of work that covers the entire lifespan to the last breath. Her definition is work is engagement that benefits you and your employer, or you and your family, or you and your community. Mm-hmm. So when you look at it from that perspective, it encompasses paid work for those who need or want to bring in income, and there's a huge number of people who need to continue to work, especially since the recession, when people have been hit with financial loss of their 401ks, their retirement funds, as well as the value of their home, which they were counting on to help feed their retirement. There are people who want to work, that need to work. There's at least 9 million people in the United States today, aged 44 to 70, who are already in some type of encore work, either full-time, part-time, or as contractors, temp work, right, or as volunteers. And there's many more that are going to be joining us because the boomers are just beginning to retire now. You and I probably fit the category of those who are mixing work with volunteer activities. I work part-time in my coaching profession. I also have a peach business. I have 90 peach trees, so I'm a farmer, mm-hmm, where I'm growing peaches and I'm selling peaches. I'm actually just delivering my first delivery of peaches this afternoon. Mm-hmm. And I couple that with pro bono volunteer work in positive aging education programs. So each of us we have this yearning that is very, really basic in our lives. There's an undeniable, fundamental, almost universal shift during the second half of our lives from materialism and outward success to internal meaning and purpose. So even though we need to bring in an income, if that's the case, in the second half of our lives, we still want to feel purpose and meaning. And many of the people that I work with in my coaching are people who still need to work, yet don't want to keep doing the same thing. They're looking for something that can engage them in a more meaningful way. So there are ways to do that in our work, and if we can't do that through our work, or we want to do it as a avocation as a volunteer, there are many opportunities to do that. It all starts with us looking at what's important to us, where we want to have an impact, having a picture of that in our minds, what brings us joy, and what do we want to leave behind. It's about legacy building. And we can do that, but it starts with that introspective step that I talked about. And there's tools in the book that can help your listeners to both look at what are the steps that they need to take if they want to find paid work, and they're at the place where they have to find new paid work, and look at and couple that with what's going on out there in the world in terms of the kinds of work opportunities that there are. Carlene McKay, one of our workforce specialists that was essential element, an essential contributor to the work chapter, points out that we need to do everything that we can to get current. And that might mean not looking at the barriers that we see out there in the world, but think about missing skills. What do we need to do to build our skills? And then go out and find it. Go back to school. Junior colleges have lots of programs. There are short certification programs. There are some, in some cases, that might just be learning a new computer skill or sharpen your skills. Learn a new one in a field that's growing. You can learn a lot about what's going on in the economy and what the growing fields are by going out on the Internet. And get familiar with social media. If you want to find a new job, you have to get current. You need to stay relevant, and social media is one of the areas that you need to know about. LinkedIn is a key resource for anyone who's looking for a job, and instead of having a paper resume, a LinkedIn profile is your new online resume. And there's statistics out there that I want to tell you about in terms of the future. I know that older adults are having trouble finding jobs at this point, but economist Barry Bluestone says that by 2018, assuming that the economy is going to continue to recover, there'll be more jobs than people to fill them. That's because there are fewer younger people coming along. Companies in our nation's economic viability are going to need older workers. So we've got 4 years to get prepared.
Mary, it's been great. Thank you so much. There's so much to talk about. We're going to have you on again. So thank you, Mary Radu. Go to lifesmartafter50.org. Is that right?
LiveSmartAfter50.com. LiveSmartAfter50. And the LifePlanningNetwork.org. And if any of your listeners have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them and see if I can help connect them with the correct, the resource that would be right for them, whether it's a resource out on the web, a place in the book to look, the Live Smart After 50 book, or in finding a practitioner that could fill their needs. And they can reach me at mary@pathmakercoaching.com or Google me, Mary Radu, R-A-D-U. If you do that, I'll come up on the first page on Google, I promise.
Great. Yeah, I did that. You did come up on the first page. So again, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you all for listening to the Aging Boomers, tuning in. And speak about tuning in, go to iTunes. You could get all of our podcasts, or go to theagingboomers.com. Everybody be safe out there, and we'll talk to you all soon.